So how did you get through high school? You read the chapters in the textbook, sometimes, scribbled down absolutely everything the teacher said, or not, maybe got a nice study guide from the teacher, and then studied that guide over and over again so that you could regurgitate the right answers on the standardized test. That ship has sailed. Here's some easy steps to making good notes and getting good grades. Read the chapters and assigned readings before class. No, seriously, you really need to do this in university. Don't be concerned if you don't understand everything you read, and for heaven's sakes, don't highlight everything. Just read it through. If something seems weird or you're not clear on something, make a note of it. After you're done the readings, you'll have a short page, or maybe two, of things you don't understand. Let's call these the unclear notes. If anything is not on that list, then you understand those things already, and you're done with those areas of the content. Come to class. I know I said it before, but do come to class. This is where the professor will highlight the relevant parts of the readings that you just did. This is your opportunity to do two things. Clarify what the professor thinks is relevant in the readings. Ask questions from your unclear notes when the professor brings it up in class. In class, don't try to write everything down. That's a habit from high school that you've got to get rid of. If your professor posts the PowerPoints, then don't duplicate them in your notes. Why write stuff down that's going to be handed to you later on? At the end of class, you'll have the highlights that the professor raised and clarification of the concepts that you didn't understand during your readings. So you're all caught up, right? Well, not quite. This is the time, while it's still fresh in your head, to redo your notes again. This do-over is going to become your final study guide. Do these every week after class. Don't leave your study guide until just before the midterm. If you do, you won't understand your class notes and scribbles from the lectures that happened several weeks ago. And you'll also have forgotten a lot of the stuff by then. So, a study guide. This is the time to get creative. Some people use mind maps, cloud drawings, clustering similar concepts together. Other people use highlighters, grouping, all sorts of imaginative ideas to put all the concepts in context with one another. It doesn't really matter what you use, but by just doing something like this, you'll be able to remember the relevant information much better. Here's some examples I found on the internet. Okay, enough of that. But you get the idea. Do whatever you think will work best for you. But here's a tip. Every time you make a note in your study guide, ask yourself, why is this relevant to the big picture of what the professor wants us to know? For some of you who are taking notes in a course that's applicable to doing something in a lab or in your career, you'll want to ask, how will I use this in the lab or in the field? In other words, why do I care? Try and fit the pieces of information together using these questions as a guide. A few weeks later, when the midterm is coming up, you're ready to go. Just pull all of your weekly study guides together, go over those well-written and organized notes, and study those. Do not study from the textbook. You're done with that. It was a lot of reading to get you primed for the lectures, to ask questions in the lecture, and make your in-class notes, and design your study guide. You're done with that. Don't go back to the textbook, unless your professor specifically says you need to study a chapter or a reading for the midterm because of the information it has in it. So work with your study guides before the test, and within only a couple of hours, you'll be ready for the midterm. All that work, which you may have thought was a waste of time, organizing everything week after week, really pays off when it comes to studying for the test. In the next video, we'll look at those tests, the various kinds of questions you'll encounter, and how to answer those questions in the least stressful way.